Adrienne, you just want to say hello?
Hey, everybody, some familiar faces on the call, and thanks for joining us. Yeah, I love these sessions because there's always what we call continuous learning that can happen. And I know Robbie's going to share some interesting information. I want to thank Bill for organizing this alumni call, and also Nancy, our partner at Illinois Extension, who does such a great job helping us organize, getting everybody here and making sure that you all have materials afterwards and follow up. So thank you very, very much. And I'll turn it back over to Bill.
Good. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. It's been, now quite a while, 6 months or more since we've completed our cohort activities, formal. But we hope that those efforts continue to bear fruit and your teams continue to meet and make progress. And so I'm just going to do a little round robin here, and we'll see who's got news to share. And I'm going to call on my friend Sharon Irish from Peoria and tell us what's going on there. I know that Peoria just was named, Peoria County, one of our new accelerate communities that will start in the spring working on broadband planning in conjunction with
Bill, you got to hold. Sharon's from Champaign-Urbana.
Oh, that, never mind. So
you can give me an Accelerate award. That's fine.
There we go.
I was gonna say.
Oh, thank you for saving me. Well, you should have been. I wish you would have anticipated my errors. But Sharon, tell us what's going on in Champaign-Urbana.
Oh, I'm mostly on this call because I'd like to hear what other people have to report, because I have practically nothing. And I'm not in touch with Stephanie Burnett, who was the lead on the Housing Authority grant.
Well, what are you personally working on with digital equity?
Okay, well, I'm personally working on so there was this parallel thing that was happening with the Housing Authority grant that was through the University of Illinois Chancellor's Office, that was called something like the Campus Compact to address racial injustice. I can't remember what it was on. Anyway, there were some overlaps between the two groups, between the Housing Authority group and the working group for the Chancellor's Office. So mostly I'm still working with one of those partners, Don Blackman, who works in North Champaign. And we are, well, Don has a very ambitious vision, so we're working on pieces of it. And the really awesome news is that she has a community technology center in the Church of the Brethren, where she's the outreach pastor. And I'm not quite sure who on this call helped, but Tracy Smith, who's at the U of I, connected us to Kevin, I'm going to forget his name, of People's PCs for People. Kevin Poe?
Yes, Kevin Poe.
Okay. Anyway, Kevin drove up computers for Don to use. And so now we got a little grant through another connection. So Don is starting some training classes on both kind of refurbishing, well, maybe not refurbishing because those computers are already refurbished, but teaching people how to maintain and upgrade and use the software that's on those computers. So
good.
Thank you
Are
to
people
PCs.
showing up?
I don't think it's started yet. It's still in the works.
Good, good. Well, thanks. Thanks for your good work.
So Bill, I just want to add also that the Champaign Housing Authority, who were our partners in ICC Round 1, also participated with the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana in the READY program. And so that's an accomplishment that I know some other people on this call also participated in Ready.
Good,
And
thanks so
I'll
much.
I'll just also add that the efforts in Champaign County, as Adrian mentioned, the Housing Authority has been assisting with their efforts, and they released a plan to cover the entire county and had surveys and everything. And I'd be happy to forward what I have from that as sort of an update to folks too. But it looks like they're working well together, as Adrian mentioned. So thought I would add that, and happy to forward that along. Maybe Sharon, if you want to put your email in the chat, I can forward that to you as well. And Tracy's great. Yep, she's been great. She's doing some work in Vermilion County as well.
Nice, good. Nick Grafer, what's going on in Harvey?
Hey, Bill, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Happy New Year, if you can still say that. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Super excited to do a lot of things on a lot of fronts. One thing, we were just featured, Mayor Clark was featured in WTTW. So if you click Harvey News, WTTW, you might get a link to a pretty substantial news story about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. We didn't talk about broadband in per se. It was sort of just a general update on some of the positive changes taking place at the city, as well as some of the past challenges with crime and so forth, and disinvestment. But, you know, in terms of specific broadband stuff, we did go into overtime last August, September, and got our broadband strategic plan put together. And I think we're pretty happy with the final deliverable, the final result. Bill, you obviously were instrumental on that. And so I think you have that final draft.
I do.
But happy to share that with anyone that's interested in looking at it. I think not just from a content, but just from a formatting perspective, I think it was a nice looking report. It seems like that's more and more important these days, is how you display the information as much as the content itself. I mean, for better or for worse. And I think it's an attractive report that our consultants helped us put together. So as far as the specific recommendations, we are actually implementing some of the ideas in there. So it's not just sitting on a shelf. In fact, we have 2 redevelopment agreements in place. One for a small, just infill development in near our downtown, and then second is a pretty big development, 5-story building in downtown Harvey. It's probably the largest private sector investment in 20 years in the city. So it's very exciting.
And is broadband going to be in that building? Is that part of that agreement?
It could be replicated by a lot of communities, which is we are mandating, as we convey the city property to the developer, that they provide low-cost, high-speed internet. And I think we spell out that it's got to be $10 or $15 a month year 1, $30 at year 2, and then capped at a maximum, I think, of 50 going forward, which, you know, it's pretty, gives some price assurance and to the residents of this brand new building that's going on. So we'll probably keep on using that type of language, because it turns out the city owns a lot of real estate, a lot of it's blighted property that we're trying to repurpose and put back in productive use. But if you look at the entire South suburban Cook County region, there's still a lot of property that needs to be fixed up and redeveloped, whether it's Park Forest or Markham, Harvey or Phoenix, and any others. So this is something where we're in the real estate business, whether we want to be or not. And provides us an opportunity to, not just fix real estate, but also start to help on broadband.
Was there much pushback from the developer?
No, not at all. In fact, it turned out to be actually a very useful tool in terms of PR, because we were getting pushback from the neighbors. They didn't want a 5-story building looking over their smaller homes, the NIMBY stuff. And so we are arguing that this is going to actually enhance your neighborhood, and by the way, it's going to provide broadband for everybody that lives in that building and have some other benefits. So
Good.
it turned out to be a useful tool in that sense, and finally got it adopted by the city council about 3 weeks ago, actually.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, I would agree. Your plan, looks spectacular and is well laid out and very impressive. And so sometimes the fancier the plans, the less likely I think they are to be implemented. So, but I'm glad to hear that you're pushing through on getting things done. So
yeah, one other thing, Bill, we're working with CMAP, Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. CMAP controls a lot of grant monies that funnel through to the local level, and they often are the conduit for local comprehensive plans, land use plans, TOD plans. So we use that. We're going to be using that as a way to also talk about broadband too.
good. Thank you. Kyle, I see you're on for Mercer County. Welcome.
Hi, Bill. I am with family en route to my daughter's treatment, so I'm going to keep it quick here. We have moved on to accelerate and lucky, fortunate at cohort, and we started 14 straight weeks. We'll be taking what we learned in the Illinois Connected Communities process and the plan that was developed there and moving the implementation and greater community education forward through Accelerate, and then also internally taking several of the key action steps from that plan and putting people and responsibilities locally to those. So we're excited about what we learned through ICC and how it sets us up for success through Accelerate. Hi, Mark.
Good. Well, we're excited to see the application for Mercer County, and especially with the county taking the lead as the applicant, to see that kind of buy-in, transfer from, your group, your ad hoc group that you formed and led into bringing the county's capacity to bear is really exciting.
Yeah, I'd say it was a refreshing synergy there between what the county is now looking to do, and we've been spearheading this the entire time, and obviously ARPA funding changed the game and helped decision makers at local government levels understand broader what the priorities can be and how they can allocate ARPA funds to those. So ARPA really helped drive the curiosity, the interest, and the relationship that we have with the county, and now the county buying in and leading as we head into Accelerate. And I believe Aaron from our group was at least planning to be on the call. I don't have my phone at my fingertips as I drive here, so not sure if he's on or not, but I did see Mark Johnson, his face flash up. So taking from Accelerate from Illinois Connected Communities to today, Mark Johnson, interim president and our interim general manager and president of the board at New Windsor Telephone, is now a member of the MCBT board. And he's helped keep us educated and moving forward with broadband. He's going to be also a key player in Accelerate on the steering team, representing both his company as a provider and MCBT. So grateful for the work that Mark is and will continue to do as we move this forward.
Good. Thanks, Mark. And you have anything to add? Mark?
Just echo things that Kyle said. One of the key things, it's funny how we can live in an area and really not know our neighbor. And I think that's kind of, I've thought that when I become involved, as Kyle mentioned in Mercer County Board MCPT, excuse me, and hearing what's been done in the county that I would have no idea about. I also would like to say that we were lucky enough in early November to get the 4 ISPs, Internet Service Providers in Mercer County at a meeting, a presentation, and talk to them, hear concerns, where they're coming from, etc. That was very nice. We shared some maps. Hopefully, I know we shared maps to others where we are, future plans, etc. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm very excited about what this Accelerate Illinois is going to do, and the chance to get a little funding. And speaking from someone that's an ISP, obviously funding's a big deal, right? I guess we all need funding, and if we can get access or a way to know how to get funding, so far it hasn't been, the funding that's been out there hasn't been as good as the ISPs would have hoped. We're hoping things might change that way so we can invest more in. All the ISPs, we all want to put fiber in, but we're limited to what we can spend. So I guess that's about enough of my spiel for a while.
Good. Well, thank you so much. And then I see Kenzie's on for Mercer County as well. Is that, I think that's correct. And then,
Yes.
good to see you with us. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's go to South Shore. I see it must be maybe Val and Linda on from South Shore. Is that you, Val?
Hey, Bill, it's
Hi,
Linda.
Linda.
How are you?
I'm great. Welcome.
Good. Thank you.
What's new in South Shore?
Not much, not much. We finished our strategy, but the NNA was unable to, I guess, move forward because they need a technical lead and didn't hire. So our plan is just sitting on the vine, withering away.
Well, that's not fun to hear, but sometimes they sit, they don't necessarily wither, they age a little bit, but they can be something to come back to.
Yeah, I'm hoping also with that ARPA funds that are available, that maybe one of our organizations in South Shore will pick up the plan and try and get some funding via that method. But right now it's just sitting.
Okay.
This is Nathan. I guess it's depending upon which system I'm using. It's either NNA or Nathan Williams. But anyway, this is Nathan. So how's everybody doing? Yeah, as Linda said, it's one of those very unfortunate circumstances where, and we were talking about this the other day, the sweat, the tears, and the blood that you put into putting this thing together, and we had agreed it was a darn good plan, but for want of participation from other organizations, really outside of our control, it's kind of just like you said, it hasn't withered on the vine yet, but I'm looking at all the snow that I have to shovel tomorrow, and I said, which one is more important? But we're still fighting the good fight, and I like the idea that someone mentioned about repurposing buildings, that have gone vacant, because I think Lynn and I discussed something like that, and it's getting someone to kind of own up and kind of give us the property which we could repurpose, with a few dollars and so on. So, again, it's not dead. We still like to fight the good fight, but sometimes it's a little difficult. But anyway,
Yeah.
so we're
Has
still.
anything happened with the University of Chicago mapping project, or?
And the quick answer is no. I guess 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, we reached out to them concerning the strategic plan, and it was like they fell off the face of the earth. So I think I'm going to reach out again, because stuff happens, and sometimes people don't get back to you. But I did that from them, and also I had a source at the DePaul University as well, and so yeah, I'm going to reach back to folk because I think they were a good source, because we were looking to UFC for the which one was it? One of the other programs. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's also that Dwayne Douglas that maybe we should reconnect.
Right.
With, doing some
Right.
wireless.
Right. Thank you for that. I saw him as there as well.
Okay. Well, good. Well, thanks for joining today. So the effort's not dead. You have two good representatives on this call. So the fire is flickering. So that's great. Thank you.
I just also wanted to talk about with the South Shore community. I think somebody, I don't know if Devin Braunstein has reached out to anybody at South Shore, but I've been talking with her, and there seems to be a plan to get a digital equity coalition going in Chicago. They're currently have an RFP out for a broadband consultant to kind of manage those things. And it sounds like one of the big plans is to kind of do pilot projects in different communities. So I spoke with her about, the different Chicago-based Illinois connected communities that we've had. So just kind of, obviously we'll be in touch, and I just wasn't sure if that was something that, the South Shore people on this call were aware of. Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Robbie.
Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
No, I just said, thank you, Robbie. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
neither was I. And that was Devin from City of Chicago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's in the mayor's office, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Good.
So
Thank you.
obviously we'll be in touch about that. I think everything is like still in the formation stage, but I think it's moving quickly.
And then I see Dee McComb from the Southwest Leadership Council. Hi, Dee.
And Mary Gay also is on from Swill.
Yeah. Hi, Mary.
Hello.
What's going on there in the Southwest Leadership?
So, so we just got the new executive director. He started yesterday, Kyle Anderson. And in terms of coming out of the office of the Leadership Council, I've been still plugging along with grants and getting those out to people who need them. And my hope moving forward, though, is to switch gears a bit and go more into digital literacy training. And I've been doing research into all of the nonprofits in the 9-county region and trying to see which ones have any digital equity work going on right now. And I'm going to start reaching out to them at some point. We got to talk with other folks on the broadband steering committee meeting, which will be later in February. So hopefully there will be some more movement going forward now that we've got the new executive director.
Bill, you might also want to add that Kaskaskia College, who is a very active member of the Swill ICC, has received a notice that they will be in the Accelerate Round 2 cohort.
Good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see some names here, but my memory is bad enough that I can't connect them to Al, you were with Mercer County, right?
That is correct. So, and I think Kinsey was going to talk a little bit about what's going on the youth side. So I was going to talk a little bit about that from the healthcare side.
Oh, good.
So we continue to drive usage for both the telehealth side from the hospital here, but in addition, over at the Mercer County Health Department, we have a navigation program for mental health. And so the staff there are using telehealth to do that as well. And I think one of the other big accomplishments, again, since completion of that, as mentioned before, is the work with the county, but it's also work with the not-for-profits who may also be interested in investing in the work, as well as some of the business owners. So the whole funding scenario seems to be interested in figuring out how to make this happen. So Mark, back to your question or comment, really, it's not just the ISPs anymore, but it's a whole interest by the county and its entities to get involved in that. So Kinsey, were you going to give an update of, again, from the youth side, what's happening there at the tech center?
Yes, so we actually just had a meeting with PCs for People, and I'm hoping to bring forth that information regarding their WISP program to our Accelerate opportunity that I'm also on the 8-person team for as well. So just considering PCs for People is interested in partnering with us. They also have an AmeriCorps partnership like we do, and one of their fellows brought forth the WISP program in which we could possibly do distributions of their hardware, being such as like their hotspots. They have a program where you just pay the one-time fee for the actual equipment and then offer $0 a month subscription if you fit into a low income status. And then also they have desktops as well as laptops for the desktops are free and the laptops are a small fee. So just considering using that platform with Accelerate possibly. Due to the partnership that we already have through AmeriCorps. And then just moving forward, we got funding for our nonprofit, personally, High Tech Small Town, through the Moline Foundation to do code camps for local school-age children in Mercer County. So because of, COVID still ongoing, unfortunately, we are hoping to make sure that all of those children in that junior high age group do have Wi-Fi access so that they can participate in our upcoming program that we're working on currently. So yeah, a lot's going on in the youth department. We're excited to have funding for our personal programming and then what that means for the use of broadband throughout our community.
Kinsey, can I ask you how many remote worker employees for Fortune 500 companies now? Is it up to 4?
I believe so. We have another partnership that we haven't officially announced as well. So yes, a lot happening at the tech center over here. We're excited.
Great, thank you.
Quick question. How would WISP work and how might it be implemented?
So the WISP program, let me just see if I can post the link here in the chat to their program, but you have the option to be a distribution site in which you would pick a location and then individuals who can go through your personal link once you register with PCs for People, they can pay the flat rate for a desktop. Like I said, it's $0. And then for the Wi-Fi hardware, just the little jetpack hotspot, I believe it's like $70 and then $0 a month if they qualify. If they don't qualify, it's still only $15 a month. So if you register your company with PCs for People, then you can be a partner with them, and then individuals in your community can use your link to purchase those pieces of equipment. And then you can be either a distribution site where they come and pick up a monthly shipment, or you can just have an event in the community and individuals can come at that one event. But I can post more information in the chat here as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bill, I think it's a slightly, Kenzie, sorry for interrupting, slightly different. The WISP program that PCs for People is offering is basically putting the equipment in locations throughout a community for people to use those hotspots to connect. Bill, maybe you can explain this better than me.
So PCs for People is very flexible in their approach. So anything that they do might not surprise me in terms of how they operate. But generally what they're looking for is, in some of the bigger case studies, is where a local unit of government has a network around town. There might be multiple locations where PCs for People could install essentially a private wireless network on the rooftop of a building connected to a fiber network, and then just essentially have free broadband come off of that service to serve so connection to a public building in a low-income neighborhood, that's really the targeted location for those kind of things. But they are very entrepreneurial. Both Adrienne and I are on the board of directors of PCs for People, national board. That's how we met, actually. And so it is something to take a look at. They've got 2 offices, one in Cook County and one in
Belleville.
Right.
So I just want to share one other thing with everyone, and that was in Illinois, a real leader here in telehealth. So the legislature endorsed both behavioral health and physical health to be paid at the same rate as face-to-face visits. So any of the sites, if you have any connections to healthcare facilities, Illinois is one of the first states who has done that for both at the rate, which will really drive access for, again, remote areas, limited resource areas, to be able to get their healthcare taken care of.
Good, thank you, Al. Chris, I see you on the call. Chris Molesky, do you want to introduce yourself and what community are you with?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Molesky. I am with Mattoon Community Unit School District 2.
Oh, good.
Coles
Welcome.
County. Yeah, thank you, Coles County specifically. And purpose of me being here is to learn from the group. We are a rural community, a rural county for that matter, and we are trying to do some things to step up, I guess, both our game plan for infrastructure for broadband in our rural community. In addition, today is an e-learning day, and for many of the school districts in our region, and we are seeing the challenges with connectivity today as we speak. So right now, as I was listening in, and kind of giving you a little bit of background, Tune in Motion, and that group is one of the cogs, I guess, in this group is looking at the broadband component, not only as a valuable piece for community resources, but the potential of luring future businesses to the area. In addition, it's a volunteer group, but we do have an AmeriCorps Vista that has been recently added to our Mattoon in Motion group, to which is going to assist us with some of the grant writing and connectivity to other groups and other community partners that can help do this heavy lift with the grant that we're trying to put forth in motion. So I'm relatively new to the group, and I'm just trying to add my own sort of, I'm actually the director of community services for the school district, and I'm just trying to add, I guess, the connectivity part to other partners and resources out there so we can continue to move along. But anything that you folks can offer or suggest, I put my email into the chat. Feel free to send my way, because a lot of eyes and ears looking at the same sort of grant proposal is definitely going to be beneficial to us.
Good, good. Well, thanks, Chris. And I know that Consolidated Communications had pledged to build fiber to the home in Mattoon. Is that in progress or still on track?
Consolidated Communications is a fantastic community partner with us, and I know that they are also a key player in some of the and maybe I'm going to get the terms wrong here or the answer here, but they're also trying to seek some of the I guess potential to do if we are awarded the grant as the I guess the host to help do this broadband, but we do have some members that are helping us look over things, but not trying to persuade us that it would just benefit Consolidated in looking at this. So I guess maybe a long answer to the shaded is a wonderful partner.
Good, thank you. And then I see the Elevate on the call too, also from Mattoon. Any news from your accelerator?
Hey, Bill, this is Carlos here with Elevate.
Yeah, hi, Carlos.
Yeah, we have at Elevate with our List Squirrel partner and PCs for People, we're putting together a program that will allow for 30 households or family members to receive free computers and or internet service. This is, I view this as part of a larger picture that Chris kind of brought forth within the community. We're starting to build the story around the need and why it's important to have broadband access, fiber to the homes, and accessibility to different programs such as digital literacy and things like that. So we are gaining traction in that area and looking forward to more successful wins in the near future.
Great, great job. Well, that's very interesting. Thank you everyone for your updates. Great to see the things happening, and happy to have 6 of our ICCs on the call, and really appreciate you taking the time to do this. It's glad that you did. I just wanted to take a moment. Robbie's going to do a little presentation here in just a minute, but I'm going to share my screen and just go through. This is a document that Robbie can put in the chat that you can download from online. Excuse me. And this is a very useful tool that is created by a group called Common Sense. It's all the different federal dollars that are out there right now, and some currently in place, some that are kind of already have been deadlines have closed. But when we talk about all this federal money, being ready for it is going to be really important. And so as we start at the top here is the from the infrastructure bill, the BEAD program, which is a big federal allocation from the Federal Department of Commerce, NTIA. They're going to give block grants to the state. And so the state is in process or has already submitted its plan to NTIA for this funding. It's really where for most areas that lack 25 down and 3 up, but you'll notice there that 80% number there, it can be used for areas that have some broadband. We know that the federal broadband maps, if one house in an area in a census block, if the providers say it's served, the feds consider that whole census block served. Well, this really is takes exception to that. And so looking at areas that have some combination of served and unserved areas in it will be important for people. But those are huge dollars there that will come down for availability. This digital equity competitive grant, you can see all kinds of uses, digital inclusion activities, navigators, workforce training, low-cost devices. These are for public entities. These are going to be competitive grants. And so there's going to be 5 years of funding, $250 million per round. And so you just have to be watched for that. And you can see here in this far columns, you can see number one, what these things can be used for, and then great sources of information. And you can see Benton Institute on all of these. So, source. Of course, they might be alphabetical, but that still is a top source for information on that. So keep an eye on that. For rural counties, these middle mile grants can be really important. If you don't see any providers in your neighborhood that are likely to provide you with quality service, this is a real opportunity for regional kind of broadband planning to try and get more competitive broadband fiber access to ISPs into your area. Thinking about how do you work with your schools, your local governments, county governments, hospitals, and so on to fund these middle mile networks that can really drastically reduce the cost of getting better competitive service in your area. So that's an important one. Looking, the funds available May 2022, that's just several months. So those kind of activities take strong planning to make happen. Let's see here. Some of these other ones are going to be block grants. This big coronavirus capital fund, 10 billion, going to the state governments, and so that is important. The ARPA funds that everyone talks about, this Corona State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. For a while it seemed like there's going to be broadband was going to be the top priority for those funds for local governments. And then the Treasury Department said, oh, well, never mind, you can use it for anything almost. And so proving your case for broadband is going to be more of an effort there. So be aware that those competitive uses within your own local governments for those dollars, you're going to have to make the case for that. The Emergency Connectivity Fund, there might be a third window there for schools and libraries around E-rate funding. Make sure your area is getting its share of that. And then we have the some of these things that were in this Consolidated Appropriations Act. Those are already applications in the hopper. Those who are prepared are going to be the winners on that. And so make sure that you're ready for the next round if you don't have funding in for that. This Reconnect Grant Program, this says February 2nd, but I saw something today that said February 22nd. But if you're not working on this Reconnect Grant Program already, even if you started today, the 22nd wouldn't probably be enough time, because one of the things with the USDA, Rural Utility Service, their grant applications are thick and detailed, and you can't have a missing cross T to get those fundings. The beautiful thing about that, though, is 75% grant, 100% grant possibilities. And so those are highly desirable. And there's likely, you think, oh, $1 billion, they'll never spend that. They will definitely have more than $1 billion of application, because those are covering large rural unserved areas generally. And so those are emergent. And the other thing is just this affordable broadband connectivity program, which is now open, and just getting people to be eligible, who are eligible to apply for that, and leading them through the hoops. That takes considerable effort, but the communities can really impact the percentage of people in your community that qualify for that. And if you think about a $30 per month subsidy ongoing into the future, that's really a powerful tool for digital equity. And so that that's a quick overview of some of those federal dollars that are available Mark, do you see, is your company pursuing any of these right now, or you're waiting for the state dollars to be available, or what's your take on this as a provider?
I think we're kind of in a wait and see mode right now. Contact was made, oh geez, maybe a year ago now, with the USDA grant. That seemed a little bit convoluted as far as paperwork and stuff. Some of those things are difficult for such a small company to work with when you're not used to writing grants. So that was kind of passed by. I can't remember, there's been so many, RDOF, Connect Illinois. Anyway, one of the last things that we did get a consultant in for was to look at money within the state, and it was a 50-50 grant, which ended up with all the loops and things that were connected to it would have maybe been at best maybe 20%. We know some other local ISPs that actually were awarded grants and then chose not to take them because it just didn't look very financially stable after all things were said and done. So hopefully there was a lot of blowback, I think, within the state about the things that had to qualify. And it made it difficult maybe for rural, especially rural providers, to meet some of that criteria. So hopefully that's been redone. I'm kind of hearing that it is. So I guess we'll wait and see.
Okay, thank you. And I know that they've two new changes in the program. One is a open rolling cycle of accepting applications, and a higher limit on how much you can apply for. And I think a reduction in the match requirement as well, recognizing that the costs that the state imposes through the kind of the workforce and prevailing wage, some of those things bring costs to providers. And so that's why they've gotten rid of that 50% match requirement.
Good.
So I think it's up to providers to kind of make their case about how much subsidy they need,
Okay.
and proceed that way.
Okay.
Good. Robbie, I'm going to call on you now to talk about the pathways document and so on.
Okay, let me try this again. Can people see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to the front. Now that my stuff is blocking, Bill, do you mind posting the link that I emailed to you to the pathways?
Sure.
Thing at some point. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Nice seeing so many familiar faces. Thank you for making it out on, what probably is a very snowy, kind of depressing day for many of you, but I'm really excited to be here to kind of hear these updates. Really glad, to hear that things are moving along quite well, it sounds like, for many communities. So I just wanted to spend this time to give a little bit of an overview of some things that we've been working on with round 2, based on a lot of the interviews and feedback that we got from you all with round 1. And so one of the ideas is this pathways to digital equity, which is a little bit more of a kind of like curriculum that puts the access, adoption, and use in a little bit more clear terms for everybody to use. So you should all be familiar with this now, but if you wanted to, explain the program that you went to city leaders or community folks or internet service providers, this can often be a good framework to use, which is just your community's worked in a digital equity space. And we at Benton and the Illinois Office of Broadband like to talk about the three-legged stool of digital equity: access, adoption and use. And so that forms the structure of this pathways document. And so I think Bill would have shared it. So people are welcome to, let me see if I can figure out what link you shared. Yes, okay, so there's a PDF and then kind of an open Google Drive folder that has associated documents and linked documents and that sort of thing. And so what we're doing right now is finalizing this document to serve as a template for the round 2 program right now, and then future programs both in Illinois as well as other states that might want to adopt something like this. And so the point of me sharing all of this today is to try to get some feedback from you all about resources that you found to be helpful and kind of what you think about a document like this. And so you're welcome to kind of scroll through it on your own as I'm speaking. I'll kind of do that in a little bit, but in case you don't have it in front of you, I just wanted to kind of provide a brief layout of how everything looks. So there's going to be an overview for each section around access, adoption, and use. And then we have the actual pathway, which follows kind of a similar structure across each. And then pathway victories is, you know, I don't remember what we called them in round 1. You know, we talked about like an activity checklist, but a lot of that was ultimately informed by what you all were successful at. You know, Bill and I kind of tracked, you know, what were communities able to accomplish, what were some similarities, what were these different things. And so those ultimately kind of became the final product that, you know, ultimately these round 2 and future communities can kind of use as guiding stars, you know, as they endeavor to help digital equity in their communities. So you all know all this. It should look pretty familiar because you did it ultimately in round 1, which was establishing steering committees, gathering information, you know, and all these sorts of things. So I'm going to breeze by that and basically just ask and kind of have this be an open discussion focused around 2 main questions, which were, as you think about your time in round 1, what were some of the things, particularly resources that you found to be helpful that you would want round 2 places to know? You know, many of you I've interviewed directly and kind of asked you this question, and a lot of that informed. So, you know, this is more to kind of be a catch-all or anything that people didn't think about the first time. But what resources were most helpful? And then as you kind of look through the guidebook, you know, what other things would you want to include? So I'm going to open it up just very briefly right now, but mainly, you know, feel free to poke around the guidebook and email me or Bill any sort of things and reactions that you might have, because it'll all be kind of going into this document to be finalized soon. So with that being said, I'm going to pull up, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then sharing it again to pull up the things, but I want to pitch it to the group of what resources and things did you find most helpful in round 1 that you think would be helpful for future communities. Oh no, the silence. It's okay.
Well, yeah, this is Nathan. The Illinois Office of Broadband. You know, when we were first, you know, being involved in it, and you know, the director, and I think he was in one of the later meetings, and you know, he pointed to the development that has really matured on that site. And in fact, I haven't been out there lately, but if, you know, in a one-word statement, because it's being updated almost constantly, that's probably the great starting for any sort of resources. And I mean, it's very, very comprehensive. Some of it is, you know, frankly, I said, wow, I didn't even know something like this exists, especially the mapping. That is really improved. But yeah, that would be my first resource.
Yeah, so just staying up to date with what's going on at the Illinois Office of Broadband, and particularly the new maps and everything that they've been working on.
I think the other is the consistent definitions that could be used and shared with others. So as I work in communities, you know, I myself had difficulty in understanding the difference between access, use, and those kinds of things. And so when we speak, often others, we just blind them by using language that they don't understand. So I think in each of our communications, to use those consistent definitions has been very, very helpful.
Great. That's music to my ears, because as I'm working on the report, you know, kind of outlining what we did and to kind of make the case for other communities, I have that kind of in the beginning, the importance of that type of stuff, which is definitely informed by feedback with round one. Just like you're saying, the importance of definitions and making sure people are kind of like understanding the language. One, for yourself, but also because you're often communicating with city leaders and other people that might not have as much of an experience around broadband infrastructure and the terms that go along.
Correct, Robbie.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
I would add that as you build a steering committee and reach out to various stakeholders, it's good to understand what each stakeholder brings to the table, or the organization brings. So what a library district or a library brings might be different than a city or village. So I think those are things that you should understand before you can start leveraging those different assets that each type of organization brings. I think cities and villages, they have land use authority, and sometimes they're like Harvey and some other south suburbs, they actually directly own real estate. And so that gives us some ability to make requests of developers. And similarly with libraries, they may have different assets, especially as it relates to the use side of that three-legged stool. So I think those are things to be aware of as you build your team of local stakeholders.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of the first step in a lot of these different pathways. Access, adoption, use is just kind of like spending a lot of time about asset mapping, and also just who brings what to the steering committee, and making sure you know kind of what those are and what gaps, you know, might be there. So thank you, Nick, appreciate it. Okay, Bill, I don't know if, you know, if people have anything else, but again, my request would be, you know, if you want to take a look at these documents that are in that public folder that Bill shared, and we'll kind of email them out as well, because we're kind of, again, finalizing and just really wanting to have it be comprehensive and collaborative, ultimately, about resources that are helpful, because you know, you only stand to help increase the connectivity across Illinois as these other communities in round two, you know, try to emulate a lot of the success that you guys had in round one. So very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie. That's great. We're real proud of that document and think it represents a great tool. And a lot of it's based on our work with you guys. So we certainly appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining today. We promised an hour and we're right at an hour. Adrian, do you have anything to say as a send off?
You know, Bill, I really, really appreciate hearing from the communities themselves. I feel that, you know, everybody moves at their own pace, and there are a lot of different ways to off-ramp from the program to continue to show success against your plans. And I'm really pleased that the majority of people on the call are taking advantage of that. So Bill, again, thank you so much for organizing this. Nancy, for your help, and Robbie. Yes, I would join Robbie in hoping that people take a look at the document he's just shared, and any further input from anybody would be greatly appreciated. So thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.